Y'all, let me be very, very clear. Let me look into the camera and say this stuff. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Period. There is no NBA player, including LeBron James, at this point in time, that is a better player than Kevin Durant in the world. Nobody. Now let me say this. If you're LeBron, I can understand why you're going to be upset about the Greek Freak. Because, see, I'm looking at LeBron James' numbers here. 26, 27, 27, 25, 25 over the last 4 or 5 years, okay? And we see what he shoots from the field. And even though he's a different player than the Greek Freak, he's a creator. Even though we saw Greek Freak passing the ball exceptionally well in the finals against Phoenix, he deserves a lot of credit for that. And we saw the monster game he had in the closeout game, particularly hitting 17 to 19 free throws, which we never thought we'd see from him in our lifetime. Okay, we get all of that. But in the end, when you look at LeBron James the playmaker, LeBron James the facilitator, LeBron James the basketball savant that exploits mismatches like it's going out of style, LeBron James the greatest passer in the game as far as I'm concerned. When you look at all the elements of his game and what he brings to the table, there is simply no denying how special LeBron James is, the kind of effect and impact he has on the game of basketball. And there's no way on earth that two players should definitively be rated ahead of him to the point where he receives no votes from the executives and scouts. No votes. There's no excuse for that, okay?
Stephen A., this is where I'm confused, though. LeBron has the same numbers, if not better, than Kevin Durant last season. I'm looking at him right now.
Well, I'm not looking at just numbers. I'm not looking at just numbers, because you see, if I was looking at just numbers, Molly, I could sit up there and go to the free throw line as well, because I keep bringing that up because that matters and people ignore the fact. See, when you can't hit free throws, Molly, and LeBron James over the last 3 years, let me make sure I have this right on point here. LeBron James over the last 3 seasons, 66.5%, 69.3%, 69.8%. He hasn't hit 70% of his free throws the last 3 years and 4 of the last 5 years. Why does that matter? Because what happens is, if I have questions about you from the free throw line, number one, I can lay off you and dare you to hit perimeter shots. Number two, when you get to the basket, I can simply foul you and send you to the free throw line as opposed to letting you convert shots at the basket. Number three, and more importantly, because of that, as the game wanes and crunch times arrive, you are an impediment to the team's success in a lot of situations when going up against elite competition if they're shot makers. That's why Max Kellerman and myself have the Brooklyn Nets as favorites.
For being goldish.
I do think that deep down, LeBron does know that Kevin is just better than he is at this stage and this age. Kevin has risen and shown and taken over Olympics after Olympics.
Wow, the Olympics. So that's what we're determining now. You're using that now. But you didn't do that. Hold on, Skip. I'm trying to figure out why you didn't do that in 2012.
Because we were loaded. This time even you said it was KD or bust.
Now we
Am I
loaded.
right?
Skip, you do realize that everybody, with the exception of maybe 2 guys, have been an all-star. So we were still loaded. We were loaded.
And then why did you say, after we lost those first 2 exhibition games to, who was it?
Lost to Nigeria, lost to Australia, and you lost the opening game to France. Okay.
Yeah, and what was Shannon Sharp saying at that point? Oh, I think we're in some trouble. I think we did scale a 1 to 10 trouble after the first 2 losses. I believe you were at an 8.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
so I'm just trying to figure out.
The world has caught up to us. We're not big enough. We're not tall enough. We can't rebound. And we have a solo star.
You beat a team. You got 10 all-stars. Or however many was on the team. You got 10 all-stars. And you beat France by 5 points with 3 all-stars. You know, every 40 years, never been. Hold on, 1 all-star, Rudy Gobert. And 3 NBA players.
Batum's pretty good.
He ain't no all-star. He's never had Will. He was so good. Let me tell you what. They say Giannis was watching Nick Batum, and his coach told him, say, son, if you keep working hard, you could be as good as Nicholas Batum. And Giannis turned to him and said, if I'm only as good as that, I'm going back to Greece. That's what Giannis thought of Nicholas Batum. And you want to try to hype it up because you want to play KD up. KD don't need you to play him up. KD is historically great. KD should have been a 99 in the game. But because LeBron says that, that does not mean LeBron is admitting KD is better. LeBron just doesn't need to say, I need to be a 99, because that has no bearing on whether or not LeBron thinks of how he perceives himself.
Last 2 times I saw KD versus LeBron, actually in LeBron's house in game 3s, KD just took it over because he's just better.
Skip, if you look at it, the game that you said it was better, LeBron, they hit in game 3, LeBron was 42, 12, and 9.
Who hit the shot of shots?
So it's about one shot. So it's about one. So if under what you're saying,
who was the
Giannis. So in other words, for what you said, because Kevin Durant did what he did to LeBron in his house, Giannis is the best player because you saw what Giannis did to KD in his house.
Was Giannis playing against LeBron James?
No, it's about now you get disqualified unless you play against. So anybody that, see, this is what I'm starting to see about you. Anybody that does something great against LeBron, it elevates them above LeBron because we saw what Giannis did to KD in a game 7 in his building.
Who played better in that 7-game series, Kevin Durant or Giannis? Help me out.
Won?
Who played better?
Won?
Who played better?
So,
the MVP of that series was runaway Kevin Durant.
I tell you what,
Runaway.
Hold up. Go back and look at the 2017-2018 and look at the stats. LeBron averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, had more steals, shot a high field goal percentage than Kevin Durant. So since we're going to do it like that, who played better? He averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, more steals, shot a high field goal percentage.
Actually, Kevin Durant played better because he made all the shots that mattered the most, because he's the most efficient scorer I have ever seen. It's about when you make that shot that's the shot.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes.
Is it about playing better or is it about winning?
Well, it's both. They go hand in hand, obviously.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, he won.
It's only because Kevin Durant's toe, his tiny tip of his toe.
We don't do excuses.
The tip of his toe was on the three-point line, or we'd be having a whole different conversation.
Why you
want to talk about a clutch shot?
Why you think I closed my restaurant Shay Shay and turned it into a lounge? I got tired of serving the excuses. I ran out of excuses because people kept coming in and I was out of those excuses and I didn't have any. So I just turned it into a lounge. People could come, kick back, and have them a good old time. Don't get them excuses. I'm not going to let you make no excuses for Kevin Durant. Guess what? So did Kevin Durant feet grow in the game? Damn, I thought he wore 17 at the beginning of the game. And somehow it grew to a 19 during the game. I'm not going to let you do it, Skip Bayless.
The man who has spent the most time in your restaurant for losers is LeBron James, because he's lost 6 finals. He's got his own table in the back. It's his memorial table, and you reserve it for him every night, and he spends a lot of time there.
Can I ask you a question? How many times have people put Kevin Durant into the GOAT conversation?
Never. Until just the other day. Who was it?